All right, let's just dive straight into it. Little 4-game slate, as you can see up above my big dome. We have the Rosetta Stone up there. Fun little slate tomorrow. 4-game slate, so much better. I will tell you, I am doing way too much action tomorrow. I mean, pretty heavy day. I saw some targets in college football cash, and we're gonna attack them. Am I gonna win? Maybe, maybe not. But I know this. I know it is definitely a plus EV play. It's like having 2 aces. You gotta be willing to put it all in on them. So we'll be attacking that. I actually really like GPPs tomorrow. If you didn't see the big I guess I could just pull it up real quick. Let's see. Let's go over here to college football, and then I think they got only 125,000 to first tomorrow, if I remember right. 4-game slate. Yeah, that's a nice little Turniski right there. 25% to first is a lot better than what we normally get. It's still a little too high, but it's not that disgusting, right? Better than what we normally get. At least it's only 150th to 10th place. It's normally 1/100th or worse. So, yeah, I like that tournament. I mean, it's not a very good structured tournament, but my degenerate ass is going to play in it because I got some punts I really like. All right, we're going to start. It looks like most of the injury news we're really sweating is actually in the earliest game. If you don't know, these games are a lot like NFL was with a 3-game slate. They're all staggered, right? So none of them are really running at the same time. There might be a little overlay at the end of one game and the start of another, but by and large, it's every 3.5 hours you're getting a new game, which is pretty awesome. So you're definitely going to want to babysit your lineup a little bit tomorrow. Be in the college football Discord and check in. We got some cool dudes in there that are pretty sharp, and we'll share the information, and you'll just need to make plans accordingly. Okay, so do that. But the good news is most of the big injury stuff that we're sweating is in the very first game, this Georgia State versus Buffalo game. And I think that what we get news-wise, if anything, because it is fucking college football, will dictate a lot of what's going to happen. So we'll just start out there. The big one to me is this Jalen White. It used to be their starting running back, but he missed the last game. And then Gerald Green was going to take over, and he missed the last game. And so I think I'm reading that they're going to play. Let's see if I can find what I was reading a minute ago. Jalen White. This is compelling television right here. Latest, Jalen White. Not a lot there. Not a lot. Just some dude fucking tweeting a lot. All right, great. Not what I was looking for. If he plays at 5,100, he seems like a really good play. He catches it out of the backfield. He's definitely their number one back on a team that has a 35-point total. I like them. I like him, right? He's a lot like playing a Texas Tech running back or something, right? Yes, Georgia State is a pass-heavy team, but if he's going to play, I'm pretty interested. If you don't know, their quarterback, Kyle Van Treese, averages over 300 passing yards a game, and that's going to naturally make you want to play him at cash. And I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying in college football, rushing is where the real points are hidden, right? When they get that 80 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown or two, it just adds up so much faster than passing touchdowns, man. So that's the only concern I have with Van Treese is he does not, as you can see, he only runs the ball 1.8 times a game up there, right? That's not a lot, but he does chunk it all over the field. Okay, if Jalen White's playing, I like him. I don't mind Kyle Van Treese. And then they have 2 receivers that are almost just laughably mispriced. First of all, Singleton. I think he's averaging 15 targets a game over the last 2. One of their big receivers transferred out, so he's basically filled in that void. He should probably be a $6,500 receiver at minimum, and he's $3,000. If you don't have him in your cash lineup, I mean, it's one of those things that even if you think he's going to flop, you still play him because everybody else is going to have him, and it won't hurt you at all. You just eat that. You just take that free square and just live with it, right? And now in GBPs, I think there is a path to fading him, right? There is a path that he somehow doesn't get there, and then probably 80% of lineups will be dead. But in cash, there's no way. The other one, as you can see, is that Caleb Hood? 5,900, getting 10 targets a game. This is a pass-forward offense. They're throwing the ball all over the place. These 2 guys are getting all kinds of targets. You just put them in. You set it, and you forget it. I have a hard time not starting my lineup with both of those guys. And on that note, I want to go ahead and throw this out there. This is a tremendous wide receiver slate. So I think I am warm to the idea of putting a wide receiver in the flex. Okay, I normally am a running back guy, but I'm just not in love with these running backs, right? Like even over here, you probably see over there for Utah State, I have Calvin Tyler Jr. listed as cash, and he is cash viable. But like him, Jalen White, Keaton Mitchell, maybe I could just play 2 of those because I just feel a lot safer about some of these wide receivers. In these high total games, I really like some wide receivers, especially with these competitive totals. So this is a tremendous game to stack, by the way, this Georgia State-Buffalo game. Cole Snyder is the best point-adjusted guy on the slate. At 5,200, that's just so ridiculous. If you want to play him in cash, you probably could. I would almost guarantee you he'll probably get you 3 extra points. Only thing I worry about is, he hasn't had a lot of huge games yet. And I don't think he's a proven commodity like some of these other guys are. And if you haven't noticed so far this year, I really like to pay for certainty at quarterback and at my super flex. So I probably won't play him, but if you do play him in cash, it's actually not that gross. Point adjusted, he's probably the best price adjusted guy on the slate. At running back, I think that Ron Cook and Mike Washington both offer some big upside. They can have those games where they bust the 80-yard touchdown run, and then you look up, they have 25 points. So I have them both as high upside, but honestly, all 3 of those guys I'm not even considering in cash. But I do think they're very enticing run backs against a Georgia State stack and a GPP lineup, right? At receiver, they got the 2 guys, both in the 5,000s, getting nearly 8 targets a game. That's not bad at all with Chin Williams and Justin Marshall. I don't think they're quite cash viable, but man, they're pretty close. I mean, they're pretty close. I think they're probably, going to get you somewhere between 12 to 18 points, which is a nice, 3x value on average. That's not the worst. I just don't love their upside. I don't love the Buffalo upside in the passing game like I do with Georgia State. But once again, this game is so stackable. Game 1, game 3, if you're going to do GPP stacks, right? When I say that, I mean you have 8 guys in your roster and you put 6 of them from one game. I think game 1 and game 3 are the ones you want to do that. And if you want to get squirrely, you do it for game 2. I don't think you give it any real consideration to doing that for game 4. Okay, because that game fucking sucks. All right, over to game number 2. We've got Seth Hennigan. He's probably, all these quarterbacks, honestly, to me, Holton Ahlers is probably the best one. But after that, you can make a pretty compelling argument between Hennigan, Van Trees, and McCall on who I like most. They all have some positives. They all have some negatives. My dummy lineup I put in to reserve all my cash lineups, which was too much. It has 4 Georgia State guys in it, and I don't really think I want 4 Georgia State guys in my lineup. That's why I'm probably going to have to be redoing some shit. I do like the Van Trees, but, then if I have Van Trees and I have 2 of his wide receivers double stacked, fuck. I mean, I basically am dependent on that game fucking going. Because, if they just all do average, I'm basically sunk. And my whole point tomorrow is most of my cash lineups, I'm just singling a guy. I've been tracking who's good at cash and who's not, and I found a guy who put up a bunch of head-to-heads tomorrow, and just based off of this year, I'd probably say worst-case scenario, I'm probably 65% to win it. And so I don't want to make any mistakes. I want to just let him go play weird fucking pieces that make no sense, and I'll just play the safe pieces, and maybe he'll get lucky and his random piece will go off, but I don't care. I'm just playing the safe pieces. And when you're playing safe pieces, I don't think you want to play 4 guys from one team. I don't think that's very optimal. So Hennigan, I actually, for Memphis having a 34-point total, it's weird. I just don't love any of them. You would think with a 34-point total, there's a lot of baked-in good DFS there, but I don't like any of them that much. Hennigan, I guess I could play. He offers a little bit of a rushing upside. He is the quarterback of a team with a 34-point total. But, man, they have some decent running backs, and the problem is with Ducker and Martin, they do seem to both kind of share it, so I don't think either one of them is cash viable. No, as you can see, none of the receivers average over 6.1 targets a game, so that really they're taking it to the quarter. I was hoping it was going to be a Pierce touchdown. It really just limits the upside. I don't want to pay $6,300 for Javen Ivory. I could see how he has upside, but I'm not even considering him for cash. So Memphis is a weird team. Even though they have a high total, I just don't love any of them. Asa Martin is overpriced at $6,100. I think a lot of people are going to play him because they're fucking morons, right? They pay for. They just look at the final scores and they don't look at how many touches he gets. Asa Martin is only going to have a good game tomorrow if he is hyper efficient, and I don't want guys that are hyper efficient. The flip side of that is Utah State. They have Calvin Tyler Jr. He averages 21 touches a game. That's what I want. Basically I'm paying, I'm getting for every $300 I spend, I'm getting a touch. That's what I want to see. I do worry a little bit about Calvin Tyler getting game scripted out. If Memphis gets ahead and Utah starts passing it, how involved is Calvin Tyler going to be? I worry about that. This is not the greatest game environment. The quarterback, Cooper Lagasse, I think he's fine for GPPs, not even giving him a 1 second consideration for cash. Brian Cobbs is 6,800, 9 targets a game. That's high upside to me. A guy that I would probably want to rotate in to my GPP pools, but I just can't get there at cash. Vaughn, McGriff, same thing. The good news is they basically just throw the ball to those 3 guys. So if you do play a Cooper Lagasse stack, I think those are the guys you're going to want to Cooper stack him with, okay? All right, game 3, probably my favorite game. No, definitely my favorite game. Grayson McCall, if you don't know, I've heard a lot of rumors that he's going to transfer, but I guess he's going to do it after this game because he's definitely playing for Coastal Carolina so far as I have seen. He has been banged up all year, so he hasn't quite been the god that he used to be. Like, he used to be like legit a top 10 quarterback in the country. And he just hasn't been that way. But now maybe with a little bit of time to rest up, he'll be healthier. He does offer a little bit more rushing upside than a lot of these guys, and he still passes the ball. The only concern I have about McCall is he gets it done with efficiency. I mean, he legit doesn't even average 30 pass attempts a game, right? And so that really makes him have to be efficient. On the flip side, I don't love their running backs, White and Beasley. I put them on there because you never know. If you're going to run an ECU stack, it does make sense to grab a Coastal Carolina running back as a run back. But in cash, you're not even considering White or Beasley. You're not even considering them. However, their wide receivers, I think you do need to take a second and give a little thought to for cash, right? If this game really is going to be the shootout game, right? You want to get some exposure to this game. If you're, I'm probably going to be playing Ehlers, I'm probably going to be playing Mitchell, and I'm probably going to be playing Winstead or Johnson, right? I'm probably going to have all 3 of those guys in my cash lineup. So if I'm going to have that, I would prefer to have at least one Coastal Carolina guy in there too, pushing the pace back the other way. And I think that they have 2 really good candidates. They got Sam Pinckney, who averages almost 9 targets a game, which is really good. And then Jared Brown, who averages 6 targets a game, but gets a lot of rushing attempts. They have a lot of design plays for him. And if you don't remember Jared Brown from earlier in the year, the dude's electric. Okay, he's a slate breaker. I mean, for GPPs, Jared Brown is exactly what you want. He might get you 5.4 or he might get you 35.4. So in cash, you probably want to hedge a little bit with Pinckney, but if you need that extra $500, just go with Jared Brown, right? Same thing. I got Winstead in my lineup, but if I need that extra $500, maybe I'll just drop down to CJ Johnson for ECU, right? I think the safest quarterback on this one, with no surprise, it's the quarterback with the highest total of any team. It's Holton Ahlers, right? 7,300 is a more than fair price for him. He offers a little bit of rushing upside. He is going to be leading a good offense. He just seems like a guy that I think you can assume he'll get 20 points, right? That's kind of worst case scenario. He's going to get you a 20 ski. So he's the one guy I think you should probably play in cash. And then for your super flex, I think you should probably be between McCall, Van Trees, and then I guess either Snyder or Hennigan. If I had to rank them, obviously Holton Ahlers is the one guy I'm going to be playing at quarterback, which I don't love. I'm not in love with him. If you don't play Holton Ahlers, it's not like you're a dumbass. Okay, the only guy that if you don't play, you're a dumbass is Jeremy Singleton. Outside of that, you have a lot of flexibility to play whoever the fuck you want. So if I had to rank my cash quarterbacks, I'd probably go Holton Ahlers 1. I guess just because of the bigger total, I'm going to go Van Trees 2, McCall 3, Hennigan 4, Snyder 5. Okay. If you do it price adjusted, maybe Snyder would be a little higher. I don't know. ECU's running back, Keaton Mitchell, has a monstrous workload here recently. He's 7,700, but with Singleton in your lineup, it's not hard to pay up for him. You just pay it. I don't see any way he's not one of your 2 running backs with how gross the running backs are on this slate, so I'm going to be putting him in there. To me, that one's pretty non-negotiable. They have 2 usage monsters at wide receiver. They've got Winstead and Johnson. They're both really good. You probably see that Winstead gets a lot more targets, but a lot of that was from earlier in the season. If you go look at their per games per target, if you go look at the last several games, they're just about even, right? They're just about even. But if you do remember, we played CJ Johnson in cash that one Saturday, and he didn't treat us well. So you got to be aware of that. But yeah, I think ECU is the best team to target. I mean, I want to have a lot of Georgia State and a lot of ECU. That's what I want to have. And then just hope that, there's touchdown variants, right? Maybe fucking Shane Calhoun gets the touchdown and, it just screwed you, right? Or he gets 2 or 3 touchdowns and vultures all your other wide receivers touchdowns. That's just how it goes. We're just trying to get the guys that are most likely to get the touchdowns, right? So ECU, I know I don't have CJ Johnson as marked as cash, But just like I don't have Pinckney and Brown marked as cash, when somebody's high upside, I think they're still viable. Hell, you could go play Chin Williams and Justin Marshall from Buffalo. I wouldn't even hate you at cash. Okay? Brings us to the last game. We've got Wisconsin versus my alumni, the Cowboys. And this game's fucking nasty. First of all, Wisconsin has been anemic on offense all year. Maybe Oklahoma State's defense can be just what they ordered, because Oklahoma State's defense was not very good this year, and then they lost a lot of players to the portal. So they're probably going to be even worse than normal. But here's what I can say. I think this game's going to be really, really slow. And so because of that, it basically makes me take everybody out of this game for cash consideration. Now, with all that said, I will say Braylon Allen might be my favorite GPP play tomorrow. He just has tremendous upside tomorrow. And so because Braylon Allen, you're like, honestly, even if you want to play him in cash, I think you can. I think it's too risky for my taste. You know what I mean? Because he's just hurt me too many times, and I'm not ready for him at cash because I don't know if they're going to give him 20 carries. If I knew he was going to get 20 carries, he would be auto plug and play with Keaton Mitchell, and we'd be done with running back. We'd move the fuck on. But we don't know that. We don't know how much he's going to get. We don't know if this new coaching staff's going to ride him. But I will say this. If he gets 20 touches, he's almost a shoo-in for 100 yards, and I would bet on 20 touches he accidentally falls into the box at least once. So if you want to take that chance, Braylon Allen, probably the highest upside guy on this slate, with the way Oklahoma State's looking, but we're going to have to I haven't read anything that he's going to be back to being their bell cow. So there's that, right? And all year, Wisconsin had him even when he was healthy, and they just wouldn't use him. So what the fuck ever is their problem? Sorry, watching Mike Williams run like a madman. You can play Wisconsin's wide receivers if you want in GPPs, but honestly, I think they have no upside. This Miles Burkett guy who I have with the injury designation, we're not actually watching his injury. I'm just not even sure he's going to start. From what I read, it looks like he's going to start, but I'm not even sure. So I marked him as we got to monitor that. And if I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be, that makes me really not want to pay for $6,000 Wisconsin wide receivers. Get the fuck out of here. Over to Oklahoma State, if you don't know, Spencer Sanders, he gone. He in the transfer portal. That's how I imagine the portal sounds. And then from there, Dominic Richardson is also transferred. So it looks like Ollie Gordon, I think, is going to get the carries. And Oklahoma State is, they just seem to pull these guys out of fucking nowhere. So at 4,500, I think he's a really good punt play in GPPs. If you just want like a low owned flyer that you want to toss in your flex or something, I think he might be the guy. Or maybe you just need a cheap running back because you want to go expensive wide receiver and quarterback stacks. I don't hate him. Oklahoma State's receivers, they have really good receivers. Problem is, I don't think Garrett Rangel is going to be able to wrangle up the ability to throw good passes. And all of Oklahoma State's receivers are priced like when they were having a good quarterback throw them the ball in Spencer Sanders. And this guy just won't do that. So all of them are tremendously overpriced in a team with a 20-point total with a guy that can barely throw a forward pass. I'm not interested in any of them. Hold on, I just realized my head's in the way. Big dome alert. Let me. I can't even scroll, man. Whatever. It's behind my head. There you go. Can you see it now? You motherfucker. Here. My head being there, that's a fucking sign that you shouldn't play him. Except Gordon. You can play Gordon. See, look, he's just above my head. Look at that. That's meant to be. Hold on, there we go. All right, guys, I think that's it. I'm going to go make a cash lineup. It's tough. It's like when you have Singleton in there, which you're going to have Singleton in your cash lineup, it's going to put you right where you almost can build what you want to build, right? Like I had one that was $200 off. I wanted to finish with Grayson McCall, and I just couldn't quite do it. So now I get back to the drawing board because I'm heavily invested tomorrow. I'm really bullying this one guy. Went and took every head-to-head I could get with him. I don't want to give names. I have this sheet where I track it. He is a guy that only wins about 30% of the time. That's only over a 4 slate sample, so I actually feel like that's too high. But he just makes some weird plays, and I want to exploit that. So that's where I'll be. I will be doing a stream tomorrow morning at 10. I actually am meeting with somebody about a lineup generator. I have a meeting. Sounds so weird to say. I have a meeting at 9 a.m., but right after that's over, I'll hop on and do a stream at 10 a.m. Lord's time zone, which will give us an hour to answer questions, look up news, be sweaty, try-hard bastards. Whatever. Get our tilting out of the way, which is weird to be tilting prior. We just be tilting that there's no good beat writers for Georgia State. That's what we'll do. So, the more I'm thinking about it, we really got to figure out this Georgia State running back situation. I really don't know if I want to play a running back in cash that I'm not even sure of his situation. So, maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go remark him. I don't want to fucking throw people off. So, there you go. Live on the air. I just changed it. Okay. And by the way, Ezra Archie, he's kind of dependent on if Marcus Sanders plays. All right, I'm going to color these up with some ownership, and I'll get it right on out along with this video here, all right? Good luck, man.